I welcome you all for today's class on projection of solids. A solid, it is a 3D object having length, breadth and thickness and bounded by surfaces which may be either plane or curved or combination of the two. It is categorized into two groups, group A and group B. In group A, it is called as prisms. The prisms are solids having top and base of some shape. Examples are cylinder, triangular prism, square prism, pentagonal prism, hexagonal prism. Why? Because you can see here the top face and the bottom face are of same shape. Here triangular, here it is square, here it is pentagon, here it is hexagon. Next, coming to group B category, example is a pyramids. Pyramids are solids having base of some shape and just a point as a top called apex. You can see here, for a cone it is having a circular shape, and for a triangular prism pyramid it is having a triangle. For square pyramid it is square, pentagonal it is pentagonal, hexagonal pyramid it is hexagonal. But for all of them there is a apex point. To the apex point all the corners are being connected. Right, I think you people have understood the difference between the prisms and the pyramid. So now in today's class I will be explaining to understand the problem, I have taken an example of square pyramid. A square pyramid 35 mm side of base and 65 mm axis length rests on HP on one of its edges of the base, which is inclined to VP at 30 degree. Draw the projection of the pyramid when the axis is inclined to HP at 45 degree. To understand this problem, I have represented a conditions for solving pyramid problems. So first condition is what? Identify resting plane and how it is resting. Okay, to understand that, first see the problem. The square pyramid is resting on HP plane. You can see here the square pyramid having some length is resting on HP plane. Right. Next, how it is resting? It is resting on one of its edges of the base. So A, B, C, D is a base of a square pyramid, and he is saying that it is resting on one of its edges. So that is why edge representation has to be made. In the projection of planes, the edge representation was in the left side, right? With respect to this side, it was being tilted, whereas in projection of solids, the edge representation is from this side. With respect to this edge, we tilt the pyramid. Okay, so that is why a square representation has been made like this. So for the naming, I have named this corner as A, this corner as B, this corner as C and this corner as D. And we know that for a pyramid there is an apex point, right? So the apex point is nothing but the tip of the pyramid. So that has been represented as O. When we view from the top direction, from the apex point all the corners will be connected. That is why a connection has been made and represented here. Next, that is how it will be looking when it is being viewed from the top direction. The square pyramid will be looking like this when it is viewed from the top direction. Then when it is, how it will be looking in front plane. So for that you have to check that the square pyramid 35 mm side of base and 65 mm axis length, the length height of a pyramid is been given, that is 65 mm length. So from this point the lines will be projected up to the xy line. From this point the 65 mm length has to be taken. That line is been represented as the axis line and the point is been represented as O dash, because the apex point is O in HP plane, it becomes O dash in VP plane. So from O dash the corners will be joined, and in the front view it will be look like a one of the triangular face. For naming the point B is seen, so that is why B dash has been represented, and whereas C is hidden, that is why it is been represented in bracket C dash. Similarly A is seen, that is A dash is been represented, whereas D is hidden, so that is why D dash is been represented in the bracket. Now what is the second condition? Based on resting plane, identify the inclination angle with respect to that. So HP plane is the resting condition, right? Where the pyramid has been resting, and we have to check the inclination angle with respect to HP. So here you can see here the pyramid when the axis is inclined to HP at 45 degrees. So he is saying that the axis is inclined at an angle of 45 degree with respect to HP plane. That will be seen in VP plane, right? So that is why the axis has been inclined at an angle of 45 degree, and this view is been tilted in such that the axis will be at an angle of 45 degree. Next, similarly, the projection lines will be projected downwards. You can see here B dash B connection, C dash C connection, next A dash A, next D dash intersection of D dash and D here, next O dash O, next O1 O1. So we have to mark the points. So for connectivity, what we have to do for when it is viewed from the top direction, the all the edges, all the corner edges are seen. That is why A, B, B to C, C to D, D to O, O to A, all are represented in solid lines. Okay, so when it is been viewed from this direction, which is the farthest end, farthest edge, A dash and D dash is the farthest end which is been hidden when it is been viewed from this direction. So that is why A and D is been represented in hidden line, and whatever the line that has been connected from point O is being shown in dark line. Okay, next, last condition is what? Consider the remaining inclination angle with respect to the other plane. So which is the other plane? VP plane. So identify here VP plane at 30 degree. Which is the one which is been inclined at 30 degree? The base which is inclined to VP at 30 degree. Mean the edge of the base which is inclined to VP at 30 degree. So which is the edge? This is the edge. AD is the edge of the base which is been inclined to VP at 30 degree. So we have to tilt this position at an angle of 30 degree and make sure that AD is at an angle of 30 degree. Right, so AD will be inclined at an angle of 30 degree, and it will be positioned like this. So this view will be positioned in this way. Make sure that AD will be inclined at an angle of 30 degree. Next, once again the angles will mean the projection lines will be projected upwards from C to C dash, B to B dash, A to A dash, next D to D dash, O to O dash, and O1 to O1 dash. We have to mark the point, intersection points we will be getting. Next, how to join all the corner points. So when I see from this direction, the whole base plane will be visible. A, B, C, D will be visible. So I will connect A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash, D dash to A dash. I will connect it. Next, point O is there, right? So from point O, all the corners will be connected, except you can see here when I view from this direction, which is the farthest corner point of the base, D is the farthest corner point of the base, right? So from D point, whatever the line that is being joining to O, that will be shown in hidden. Okay, except this line, remaining lines which has been connected from O will be shown with dark line. Right, so that is how it has to be represented, and from O to O1 dash the axis line has to be represented. So this is how we have to solve the problems on square pyramid. So based upon the conditions they have asked, we have to identify it, and with respect to that we have to solve the problem. Now I will explain how to draw it in software. Initially we have to draw a XY line and name it as X and Y. Because we are following first angle projection, VP plane will be above XY line, HP plane will be below XY line. Now we have to represent the base of a square pyramid. So to do that, rectangle by center method. I will select this option and I will place a 35 by 35 side square. Right, the basement has been represented. Now pyramid has apex point, right? So apex point will be at the midpoint of this plane. So from this point I will connect the corner points, because from the apex point all the corner points will be seen. The lines which is joined from apex point to corner points will be seen. So this is how it will be looking when it is being viewed from the top directions, and all the lines should be visible. So this is how it will be looking. So coming to the naming portion, I will select this point as A, this point as B, C and D. And the apex point I will represent as O, and the base of the square center point will be represented as O1. Right. So next, what is the next step? We have to project the line upward up to XY line. Now, how it is seen in front view, how the square pyramid will be seen in front view. For that, we have to consider the axis length. So, what is the axis length? 65 mm axis length, right? So, I will draw a line at a height of 65 mm. Right. So, this is the height of a square pyramid. 65 mm has been represented, and from the apex point, I will join the corner point, this point as well as this point, and from this point to this point I will join. So this is how it will be looked when it is being seen in front plane. The square pyramid will be looking like one of the triangular face in front plane. So now coming to the naming, I will mark. See here, when I see from this direction, point B is visible whereas C is hidden. So I will mark this point with B dash as well as C dash in bracket. Next, A dash is visible whereas D dash is hidden. So I will represent it in D dash with bracket. The apex point will be represented as O dash, and the bottom midpoint of a base is represented as O1 dash. This is how the representation of initial position, that is the square pyramid is been resting on HP plane, and how it is been seen in VP plane, it will be seen like this. Okay, now the condition is what? The axis is inclined to HP at 45 degree. So what is the step I follow is, I will select this view and I will opt move option and switch on the copy option, and I will just place this view on XY line. Now I will use the rotate option and I will select this point and this point, and I will tilt at an angle of 45 degree, right, and I will place it, and I will use the extend option, the line extend option, so the axis will be extended up to XY line, and make sure that the angle with respect to axis line with respect to XY line is 45 degree. Yes, this is what we require, right? Because as given the pyramid, when the axis is inclined to HP at 45 degree, so the axis is being inclined at an angle of 45 degree with respect to HP plane, that will be seen in VP plane, right? So for our convenience to draw for the third position, I will just move this position and I will place it here. Yes. Now I will draw a projection line downwards from B dash to B. Where is B? Here. From C dash to C. First from C dash to C. Next, okay, that should be of projection line. Next, similarly from B dash to B. Yes. Next from A dash to from D dash to D, from A dash to A. Next join it from A to B, next from C to D. Okay, right. Next from point O dash to O. From point O dash to O. Okay. Next from O1 dash to O1. Yes. I have represented the projection line, the intersection line I have been marked. See, when I see from this direction, which is the farthest edge, A dash and D dash. A dash D dash edge is the farthest edge. Apart from that, all the lines which has been connected should be shown in dark line, and A dash D dash should be represented in hidden line. So what I do, the surface lines, first initially I will draw the surface line from here to here, that is from point C to D, from D to O, next from O to A, from A to B, from B to C. This is the surface lines, right? When I see from this direction, this is the surface in which it will be looking, right? So that should be represented in dark line. Next, which is the farthest edge, A dash D dash. So that line should be represented in dotted line. That is hidden line. That I will represent in hidden line. Hidden line. Yes, I have represented in hidden line. And remaining line, whatever the line which is being connected, that should be shown in dark line. So from the point O, it is been connected to C. Next, it is connected to B. Next, it is connected to D, and it is connected to A. So that is how it will be represented, right? Next axis line has to be shown from O to O1. Right. So the naming has to be done. This point is C, this is B, this is A, this is D, this is O, and this is O1. Yes. Have you understood? So when I see from this direction, the farthest edge is A dash D dash. So that will be hidden. And whatever the line, surface, outer line, what we call it as outer line should always be represented with visible line. And the lines which is been connected from the apex point to other corner points should be seen that whether it is far away from the surface or what. So that is from O to C, it will be visible line. From O to B, it will be visible line. And the edge A dash and D dash is the farthest line, that will be shown in dark line. That is what we have to represent. That is how we have to represent. So finally is what? The last step is what? The inclination angle with respect to VP. That is at an angle of 30 degrees. So which is inclined at an angle of 30 degree? One of its edges of the base, which is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. So one of the edge is what? AD is the edge which we have considered, right? AD is the edge of a base. This is the base. ABCD is the base. AD is the edge that will be inclined at an angle of 30 degree to VP plane. So I will draw a line of 30 degree. Next step is what? I have to copy this view and I have to place it in such a way that the AD edge has to be at an angle of 30 degrees. So I will use rotate option and make sure that the copy option is switched off, and I will align with 30 degree line. The AD line will be aligned with 30 degree line. Zoom it and make sure that this AD line will be aligned with 30 degree line. Yes, now you can see here it is aligned, right? Yes. Now final step is what? Representation of the final front view. This is the final top view when it is being inclined with respect to HP as well as with respect to VP plane. So now we have to mention the we have to mention the final front view of a square pyramid. So for that I will use the projection lines from C to C dash. Where is C dash? Here. From C to C dash. Next from D to D dash. Where is D dash? Here. Yes. Next from B to B dash. Yes. Next from A to A dash. Yes. Next from O to O dash. Yes. Next from O1 to O1 dash. Yes. So I've just drawn a projection line so that it will be intersecting with respect to C and C dash and respectively with all the corner points, right? So now how we have to represent the final front view? So when I see from this direction, the face, which is the face, mean the base A, B, C, D is the base. So that base will be visible. So I will just connect the base first. Initially I will just connect the base first. Where is A? A is, A is here. So from A to B, where is B? B is here. From B to C, C is here. Next, where is D? D is here. Next, D to A. I will draw the base first. Next, when I see from this direction, so which is the farthest corner point? D is the farthest corner point. So whatever the line which is connected from D, this is a D, right? Whatever the line that is connected to D will be in hidden line. So from D it is connected to O. That will be shown in hidden line. Okay. Next, D is also connected to C, but you can see here it is a outline, right? D and C, it becomes a outline. Whatever the outer line is there, that should be represented in visible line. So remaining lines, whatever the remaining line is there, that should be represented in visible line. So from A to B, B to C, C to whatever the line which is there, line I will select. So not to get confused, I will just mark the points. So this is A dash, A dash, this is D dash, this is C dash, and this is B dash, and this is O dash, and this is O1 dash. Right. So apart from D dash to O dash should be in hidden line. Apart from this, all the lines which has been connected should be represented with visible line. So what I do, I will select the line, visible line. So from A to B visible, B to C visible, C to D visible, and D to A is visible. Next, from the apex point, from O it is connected to C. Next, from O once again it has been connected to A. Right. Similarly, O is connected to B. Yes. But O which has been connected to D should be represented with hidden line. Why? I have explained. When I see from this direction, the D is the farthest point. So that line which is connected to D will be hidden, which will be hidden. So that is why I represented in a hidden line. And remaining line, it is been shown with visible line. The outer line is always visible. So even though the D is connected to C, see here, you can see here, D and C is connected, but it is shown in visible line. Why? It is a outer line, so it is been represented with visible line. Okay. Now remaining is what? A center line representation, right? From O to O1 dash. Yes. Angle representation. Yes. So this is how it has to be